Some of that is due to the fact that Europe is comprised of independent states. But more importantly, Europe does not have an independent foreign policy because it is beholden to the United States. The United States provides security for Europe, mainly through NATO. And the quid pro quo is that the Europeans do what the Americans want them to do. And in my opinion, this is ultimately not a very healthy situation. The United States is, in very important ways, the glue that holds Europe together. Most people don't understand this. But if you took away the United States from Europe, let's say we put an end to NATO. There's no more NATO, no more American military commitment to Europe. The Europeans would be on their own. Countries like Germany would have to provide security for themselves because the United States would not be there with its security umbrella over Germany. And if Germany was providing security for itself, this would not make the Netherlands very happy. It would not make France or Poland very happy. So it would not be a good situation. And this, of course, is why European countries like the idea of having the United States in Europe. It's why European states love NATO, because the American security umbrella prevents European countries from competing with each other for security. And they can instead focus on getting rich because the Americans are providing security. But the problem is, as I said before, is that you Europeans become beholden to the United States, and you have to do things that the Americans want you to do. And by the way, NATO expansion into Ukraine is a perfect example of this. When that decision was made in April 2008, both Angela Merkel and Sarkozy, who was the French president at the time, were opposed to NATO expansion into Ukraine. They believed that it would lead to disaster. Of course, they were correct. But the Americans insisted on NATO expansion into Ukraine. The Europeans caved in, as almost always happens. And the end result is we have this disaster today. So if the Europeans collectively had been more powerful and had been able to stand up to the Americans and say expansion of NATO into Ukraine is a fundamentally bad idea, Europe would not be in all the trouble that it's in today. If the Europeans pushed the Americans away and tried to develop, let's call it a European foreign policy, what will happen is that Europe will fracture and you'll get each state formulating its own foreign policy. You won't have a European foreign policy.